Good evening, good to have you with us here on the Urban Debate 9 p.m. edition. Because we have got two big conversations lined up. The first one has to do with a story that's emerged from Tamil Nadu. Now, this is a classic example of how people that we trust, people who are meant to bring to you the message of the Lord, people who are meant to bring to you the message of a religion and a faith, betray you, target you. How often as a society we turn away and we turn a blind eye to it. This is a case where two preachers, members of Scripture Union, in charge of going to various schools and spreading the message of Bible, have been accused of targeting young girls, students in schools, minors, have been accused of sexual harassment, sending filthy messages, of threatening them and blackmailing them, and forcing them to send their own pictures. And frankly, as the messages came out in social media, I was shocked that such a thing had been reported and nothing was done even by Scripture Union at that point. Now let me tell you what the story is. Two staff members of the international Christian organization Scripture Union, Sam Jayasundar and Robin Clement, have been now booked by the Chennai police after their texts to minor girls were made public on social media. Yes, this came to the attention of the police only when Scripture Union was forced to file a complaint because there was outrage on social media. And if you look at it, numbers vary, but over 25 to 30 different people actually came out and said, different girls said that yes, they have been targeted by these men. Now the father, the family of one of these girls actually made a complaint to Scripture Union in the month of August. And Scripture Union did not inform the schools, did not file a police complaint, did not even have an own internal committee to carry out internal inquiry. They some ways tried to just brush up the matter by asking these people to not go to schools. But can you imagine two men who have access to schools, going about to different schools to spread the message of Bible, to preach religion in some ways, actually targeting these young girls? It took over 2 months and massive outrage on social media, an expose technically on social media, for the police to then file a case. Even now, with the messages, the evidence present, with the massive outrage and more people speaking up, with an official complaint and a case being filed, even now, these two men have not been arrested. Why do we always have a case where the system drags its feet when it comes to people linked to the religion, when it comes to matters of religion? Why is the police so slow in taking action? And I'm going to give you more examples as we progress. But let me say good evening to the panelists who are joining us right now. Kovai Satyan, spokesperson for the AIADMK, Abraham Mathai, president of the Indian Christian Voice, Sandhya Raju George, advocate with the Kerala High Court. She is in fact representing nuns in a different case, but again, the same story of how there was attempted cover-up. But I first want to go across to Mr. Praveen Alexander. He is a lawyer who represents Scripture Union. Mr. Alexander, is it correct that the matter was brought to the notice of Scripture Union first in the month of August?
There was a oral telephonic conversation from a 19-year-old girl from Vellore who had called up one of our staff and informed about social media chat. Thereafter, we had spoken to the girl's parents, and the parents said that the girl is a major, so we have got nothing to do with it. And they said, do not precipitate the issue. But even then, we had refrained the field staff from getting into schools. And from then onwards, we were monitoring them. So last Sunday, when one Mr. Joel had tweeted on social media stating that no action has been taken by Scripture Union. That is when we had suspended the staff, both Sam, Jayasundar and Ruben. Thereafter, we conducted an inquiry and we went to the police. We had also informed the police, and an FIR has been registered in crime number 1117 of 2020, dated 13/10. Meanwhile, we have also terminated both of them from services.
So I'm trying to understand if there was something that was brought to your notice in the month of August. Did that not worry the organization that you represent? These were men who had access to schools with younger girls also present. And obviously the complaint that was made was grave. Should you not have acted right away and asked the police and yourself set up a committee to look into it, then not wait till this Sunday?
Of course. See, we at Scripture Union, we believe in God's love. We believe in biblical values and principles. So nobody is above the law. So once a crime has been committed, the perpetrators have to be given an opportunity. So we were monitoring them. We had refrained them from entering into schools. Thereafter, we had set up a committee, and then we have suspended them from services. And thereafter, again, the board had resolved to terminate them. And meanwhile, we have also registered a complaint with the Commissioner of Police.
So you saw merit in suspending them, but not filing a police complaint.
We did inform the police. That is how the FIR is in place. We had approached the Commissioner of Police and we reported the entire sequence of events. And the police have registered.
Mr. Alexander, then you are referring to the... Mr. Alexander, then you are referring to developments that have only happened this week. We are in the month of October. I'm asking you, when the matter was brought to the notice in the month of August, what was done? If you stopped them from going to schools,
immediately we stopped them.
What was the investigation that was internally carried out? Do you even have an internal committee?
Immediately we had refrained them and we stopped them from entering schools. And we brought them both out of the field. And we brought them in-house. So they were in-house staff. Thereafter, only last Sunday, when somebody blew the whistle, we had to take aggressive measures.
Okay, let me bring in Sandhya Raju before I go across to our other two panelists. Sandhya Raju, what should have been the process, legally speaking, when such a matter comes to light? I mean, I am amazed that these people haven't even been arrested yet.
See, the thing is, the process is basically you have to immediately file a complaint. But here in this case, they were waiting. I mean, see, this is a normal process. Most of these people actually, most of the cases, most of them actually do is like, let us wait and see. Let us see whether the girls are actually speaking the truth. We have to see the other side also. It's a very kind of, we don't want to take action. So, but let us just wait and watch. Instead of actually believing the person who has made the complaint and taking proper action. Now, like most religious organizations have this thing that only when the issue comes out that they scramble and they start saying that we did this and we did that. But they do not take the proper mechanism, they do not use the proper mechanism for actually the legal system for actually taking action against the perpetrators, which is a very sad state of affairs. I mean, the system is very complacent in these kind of cases.
Yes, hello? In fact, let me read out one example, and we are going to show you few of these excerpts of girls who have spoken up. And obviously, we're not revealing anybody's identity, but there is one girl, one school student from Vellore, who wrote saying, Sam was the funny, caring, silly, but understanding grown-up that we thought we could trust. He took advantage of that. He began messaging many girls, myself included. At first, I was ecstatic. I was very happy to be receiving attention from this person who we all put on a pedestal. Then the dirty text started. I had posted a picture of me in a dress. He responded as saying, wow, this is a very naughty picture. And then he asked me what I was wearing. What do you sleep in? And then it goes on and it gets dirtier and dirtier, the text messages. Listen to this, viewers. What happens when a young girl puts her trust in somebody who then betrays her in such a way? A lot of guilt and self-doubt stemmed from these incidents, the blame for which was directed at this girl. I tried telling some friends at school, but due to the image he had carefully cultivated over the years, nobody listened to or believed me. I was branded as a liar and attention seeking. I felt guilty, like it was my fault for posting a picture in a dress, and I carried that guilt with me for years until I grew up further to realize it wasn't my fault. This is a systemic problem where the society, the schools and organizations don't want to accept or react to what happens. But Kawai, good evening to you. My question to you is that Sunday this matter exploded, and every day there are more and more girls who are speaking up and sharing their horrific experiences, and we've not even questioned these two men yet. Why are we dragging our feet?
Yeah, good evening, Tanvi. Good to see you after some time. But I'm just going through the overall narratives of different people in this panel, but I would put myself as a commoner before I start up representing the government. It's so unfortunate that sexual harassment to the largest degree is turning out to be a menace in this country. And as you rightly pointed out, the conviction rate is as abysmally low that the people who dare to commit these offences doesn't seem to worry about the intensity of the punishment they're going to receive. It looks like they feel the law is at a very loose end and they are not going to be punished at all. So having said that, while we have Vishaka guidelines starting from 1997 to monitor these kinds of sexual harassments and complaints at private institutions and workplaces, unfortunately, majority of these institutions fail to even complain to the basic norms whenever there is a sexual harassment being reported. And this case is yet another classic example. When somebody has raised a sexual harassment complaint, or it has brought to the notice of the management, the first thing what the management should have done is to constitute a committee as per the guidelines, wherein there has to be a member wherein there has to be women should be present in the panel, and they should have briefly noted down the kind of complaints, and they should have noted it down and forwarded to the district level administration. And unfortunately, this has not been done in this case, wherein the management has decided to take the call by themselves by terminating the services of the two. And the second thing is, whenever there is a crime has been committed, we say it as SOC in the police language, scene of crime, wherein the online complaint was received by the commissioner, wherein because of the jurisdiction issues, it has to be transferred to the other places. However, the commissioner has assured that the two people are at large and they will be brought to books very soon. The FIR has been registered and the case has been strengthened, and those two people are at large, and yes, definitely they will be brought to the books very soon.
So you're saying those two people are at large? We don't know where they are currently? They may be on the run?
No, the police has to act based on the complaints, and what has come as an online complaint has got vague references to these two people, and we need to have a strongest correlation of facts, and it has to be investigated, and based on which the FIR has to be strengthened. So that's the reason why one of the parent has come forward to file a complaint. I think he has got his own limitations with respect to the jurisdiction. He wants to get it moved to Vellore. So the case has to be strengthened based on the complaints. So there are many people who have to come forward and file an official police complaint with strong evidence and facts. So where in which definitely the law will take its own course of action. And however, we have not turned a blind eye to whatever has been received so far.
No, but
See, there are multiple.
yes, no, but I don't want law to take its own course at its own sweet pace here, Kovai. This is a very, very dangerous story and a trend that we are talking about. I don't know how many of these, messages and tweets and comments and admissions and have you read. I will read out another one to you. Another woman, let's call her number 3 in this case, has said that Jai Sundar allegedly harassed her online through the ages of 13 and 15. This was between 2012 and 2015. Here is a person who is saying that this was done to her over 5 years ago. Asking for my body measurements, asking for nudes, asking for my vulgar pictures. There is a situation and a possibility here that this has gone on not just now and not just with 1 or 2 girls, but it has actually gone on for over 5 to 10 years. The allegations are that serious. It requires all of our attention right now and all of our might right now to move quickly on this. It's not just about finding one person to file a complaint. Sandhya Raju, you wanted to make a point? Go ahead, please.
I want to make, see, this is not sexual harassment at workplace. It is sexual abuse of the minors. There are three legislations which are coming into force here. One is POCSO, Protection of Children from Sexual Offences. We are talking of minors. We are talking of Information Technology Act, where these kind of messages have been forwarded. That also comes under POCSO. It is punishable. And the IPC sections of 354, the 354 series. So this is not a mere sexual harassment at workplace where you have to have an internal complaints committee. Internal complaints committee is not at all coming into force here. This is plain and simple a serious offence relating to minors. Once the case was reported, it should have been action should have been taken immediately by the police, and it is not with and jurisdiction is not at all an issue, because 0 FIRs can be lodged immediately. Action should have been taken, but and there is no question of proof, because all these messages which are being circulated over the media are proof. I mean, it's basically someone has saved these messages. These are all proof. So you don't have to take more proof for proving that there was something for charging offense against charging these people for offenses. It is basically the entire. This is plainly a systemic failure which has caused this. I mean, which has allowed these people to use the law to escape. I mean, there is nothing else we can talk about that, because we are talking about minors who have been facing these by these two people continuously, and it is just because the system has been uncooperative that this had not come out earlier. If it's been for the past 5 years, means it's really a sad state of affairs.
Yes, Kovai, you wanted to respond before I go across to Mr. Ibrahim Matai?
The complaint was from the Scriptures Union. It is received from the Scriptures Union. Based on the complaint, we have filed them under the section 354A. 67A is being slapped on them. Section 4 of Tamil Nadu Prohibition of Harassment Act is also slapped on them. And one of the complaint is now at 21 years of age, who is a major. And if I want to slap POSCO, we need to have stronger evidences. We need to have people who can come forward and submit a complaint officially with the police team, which they are working upon right now. So the state has not sat simply on the complaints. Based on the complaint given by that organization, we have slapped these on them, and it will be further strengthened when we receive the appropriate. As I stated earlier, one of the parent wants to have the complaint at Vellore because that's where the jurisdiction lies, the scene of the crime lies there. So based on that, yes, the POSCO will be slapped on them. So we need to have some material in hand wherein we can strengthen the case and ensure that the culprit doesn't walk away easily. So this is the update from our side, and definitely yes, in a day or two there will be larger action in place.
Let me add to the gravity of this case here. Let me add to what I'm saying, because if we are not realizing why there needs to be speedy, strict action and tough questions asked even of the schools and Scripture Union, here is another example. Here is another of those women, one of the first who actually spoke up, and the screenshots were also shared. She says, I am 21 years old now, but I have known him, one of the accused, from when I was around 11, maybe younger. He's a very charismatic man. The kids love him. They flock to him. He has a way of disarming them, being silly with them, and that makes him likable by younger children. That's how this suspect, the accused, has been functioning for years. A 21-year-old is talking about her experiences since the age of 11, 10 years. We had full trust in him. He first texted me on Facebook when I was 14. He's shared some of those. So this is the classic modus operandi that was used year after year, targeting young girls 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. First befriending them, gaining their trust, teaching them the Bible, and then resorting to dirty, filthy messages, dirty, filthy demands. Mr. Abraham Mathai, would you see this as a systemic failure if two people like this have gone on within the system visiting schools for so many years and this never came out?
Yeah, Tanvi, I totally agree with you. It's a very shameful incident where the management of the Scripture Union was silent for 2 months, which I was not aware. I just came to know just now. Okay, it's very shameful, and I don't agree with Mr. Kovai that the investigation cannot first they have to. But now that they know the girls who has got the text messages, like I agree with Sandhya Raju, a 00 FIR can be registered anywhere in the country, and it's transferred to that area police station for investigation. So my question here is why was that not being done? And the complaint of Scripture Union, that I was just hearing their lawyer, Mr. Alexander, saying that they took action after a tweet of Mr. Joel. And in fact, Joel Akilian is a friend of mine. Why did you have to wait for a tweet? So I totally agree with Sandhya Raju. See, the top hierarchy of church organizations need to be more honest and come forward. See, even in the earlier the Bishop Franco case, they try to cover it up and they try to silence it, which is not the way it has to be handled. It's a very shameful thing, and this is not what the Bible preaches. They have to be truthful, and they need to book these people. And because these girls are minor girls, as Sandhya said, this is not major girls, they're minor, they're school girls. Is this the way somebody sends messages? So, and how much it affects their psychological their state, So I think I totally agree that this has to be a POXO case, and they should be terminated immediately, which I don't know, which he says he has done it. And not only that, people who are privy to the information earlier should also be pulled up. That is the way this can be taken forward.
Mr. Praveen Alexander, please explain to me. I'm trying to understand. The more I read about, the revelations made by these girls, how is it that it went unnoticed? That you didn't realize what kind of people were working with your organization for these many years?
No, let me reiterate the fact that Scripture Union firmly believes that nobody is above the law. We will not spare anybody. Whoever is the black sheep is out. So a couple of months ago, there was a oral information passed on by a 19-year-old girl. And thereafter, we spoke to her parents. And the parents wanted us not to precipitate the issue. In spite of that, we had conducted an inquiry and we had refrained these people from going to the field. Now, last Sunday, when
what was the information that was passed on to you by the 19-year-old girl, Mr. Alexander? What is it that the 19-year-old girl told you?
It was an information passed on stating that she had some chat messages which was shared mutually between her and Sam Sundar. So that was the telephonic conversation.
Okay.
So we wanted to have a word with the parents. The parents also said that the girl is a major, so do not precipitate the issue. But we had internally taken action at that point of time. But later on, when we came to know about all these chats on social media, we were constrained to suspend them. And
did you go back to the schools? Did you go back to the schools and ask the school authorities and ask the school young girls there if any of them had an issue?
We have not received a single complaint till date, both oral or written. We have not received any complaint as of date.
I'm sorry, you're sounding like the police to me. You just told me, Mr. Alexander, you just told me that a 19-year-old showed you chat messages between her and one of the accused. You saw what was in those chat messages. You're telling me, just because the family said they don't want to pursue it and she was an adult, the crime, it doesn't take away from the crime, of it. You're telling me you didn't even bother telling the schools? You didn't even bother finding out if there were more such girls?
You are looking at the chat messages in piecemeal. We have run through the chat messages from the beginning to the end. The beginning of the chat message is beginning with the girl. She texts the staff member of SU. Thereafter, she ends it with the I love you message. In between, there is a lot of romance and lust between them. So both of them were majors. She's a 19-year-old girl and this guy also is a major. So it was a personal chat between them. So
but you just told me she shared with you chat messages circulated within a group.
Exactly. So go through the entire chat.
Why would she circulate her own messages within a group?
You please go through the entire chat from the beginning to the end. So do not speak in piecemeal terms. That's what I'm trying to emphasize. So at Scripture Union, nobody is above the law.
At no point, Mr. Alexander, did you see that there was a problem that a man who claimed to be a preacher of the Bible and was being sent to schools to teach young girls the Bible and the message of the Lord was actually indulging in these kind of things? If he's done it with one girl, there could be more.
Sorry, let me correct you first.
Do you now realize, as in the light of the messages that have emerged, that perhaps your organization could have acted earlier? Had you bothered to find out what kind of people were working for your organization? That for 10 years, these two men went around schools targeting little girls, befriending them, and then asking them and indulging in such filthy conversations, leaving a mark on young little minds year after year? Do you now at least realize that perhaps if you had kept a... Yes, go ahead.
Let me correct you. He's not a preacher in the schools. He is only a field staff who does counseling to students in the schools. Okay, so he has gone there and he has done counseling and he has a history, a record of more than 10 years and he has visited various schools. Till date, there was not a single complaint against him in writing. The only issue here is one girl who's aged 19.
Is he a scientifically certified counselor?
He is a qualified counselor. He's got
what
all the qualifications to be a counselor, student counselor.
That's not the subject, Tanvi. Let me just say a point here. Even if let me speak here. Even if the girl is a major, even if she's a major, a 19-year-old, you're saying, Mr. Alexander, if this is brought to your notice, it's morally wrong. Are you not looking at that morally and something that's morally wrong, where these people are actually into the thing of counseling? They have no moral right to be counselors thereafter. So you all should have initiated some action on them. Even if this 19-year-old girl, and even if she, and you're saying that she also was party to it, but does it, if that girl, 19-year-old, I've not seen the chat messages, but what I hear what you say is that she also responded equally, but what he as a counselor, what he's done is morally wrong and spiritually wrong.
That is exactly why we escalated the issue to her parents. And then her parents were pleading not to precipitate the issue.
But that is one case. But the other case that has now come forth are the young minor girls in the 12 and 13 and 14, which I just saw these messages just now on the screen.
No.
I mean, my only contention is, Alexander,
we have not got any messages from anybody as of date.
No, but now that you know,
these are all speculations. These are all speculations. No, these are not on record. These are all just pure speculations, and they just want to tarnish SU's image, Scripture Union's image in India.
No, I stand with Scripture Union as an organization for so many years. But I'll tell you, whoever is responsible in actually covering up, having known this fact, should also be pulled up. That is my only submission here.
Nobody has covered up in Scripture Union. I wish to reiterate that nobody is above the law. Scripture Union will go all out. We are here.
Mr. Praveen Alexander, if I may just come in here. Mr.
Sorry?
Praveen Alexander, if I may just come in here, you are in an attempt to defend your organization, defending two men today who face
We are going
grave
to we are going to assist
allegations
the
by
prosecution.
many
We are going
girls
to assist
over
the prosecution.
harassment that has happened. Please listen to me. Please listen to me.
That's right.
Yes. But tonight, as you speak here, you sound like a man who, in an attempt to defend Scripture Union, is defending two men who, over the years, have scarred many girls. This is
So you
emerged
call
now
a termination
as
order
an
defending
organization.
my
If you
You call an
feel
FIR
so
against
much
the-
for the reputation of Scripture Union, Mr. Praveen Alexander, you should be the one gunning for these two right now, asking the police why they haven't been arrested, taking it upon
We are-
yourself to go back
we
to
are-
those schools, to find
we are
these little
assisting-
girls, to get more evidence against these two men, because sir, you are the one, your organization is the one that gave them the way into these schools. They went and organized summer camps for the Bible in the name of your organization. So if you want to uphold the reputation of Scripture Union, you should be leading this rather than defending them.
We are assisting the prosecution. Even today, we are assisting the prosecution. So we are there to ensure that the perpetrators are being penalized. So obviously, if the case goes on trial, then we will ensure that they are convicted.
Okay, I am completely out of time. I am going to thank our panelists, but here is what I want to say. If there is an organization that employs two people in whatever capacity, as preachers, counselors, but gives them the job of speaking about the Bible, of counseling young little girls, allows them to go to schools, and then the truth emerges that they may have crossed the line, sexually harassed, tormented little girls, the organization should be taking the lead in action instead of trying to defend themselves, instead of trying to cover up the case, instead of saying that the girl was a major and equally party to that conversation. Some of the message chats that have been shared by young girls as they narrated their experiences over their teen years is horrifying. I think the schools who employed Scripture Union over the years need to wake up, need to start taking corrective measures now. Some of those girls will need professional help. They may have been badly scarred. They trusted these two men, they were befriended, and then they were targeted. And the government, the AIADMK government, needs to ensure that this just doesn't become a case that gets transferred from one team to the other and gets lost in the nitty-gritties and the legalities. This needs to be taken head on with all their sources and focus to ensure that a fair investigation, a speedy investigation is done in this case. And all those who try to suppress this information and cover it up are actually punished. Thank you to all of our panelists for joining us.